Hi students, Cynthia Nitch here. Wanted to cover sales and distribution, our second case of the semester. In the supply chain terms, it's really called fulfillment, and then in SAP they call it sales and distribution, SD for short. So what we're doing in this case is we're getting a sales order. Someone wants to buy our bikes, and we go ahead and find the inventory, create the bikes, and then ship the bikes out. Then they will pay for what they ordered, right? The bikes that they ordered. So let's look at this process. So first we do pre-sales activities. We have salespeople on staff trying to sell our bikes to new and existing customers. If the customers like our product, of course, we can then put a sales order on how much or how many bikes they want to purchase. And then internally we find out if we need to do any procurement and check the availability of the bikes that we have on stock. And then we're ready to just pick that material and then pack it in the necessary way that we would generally pack something that would be affordable for us, that we still make a profit and just right for the customer. And then we post goods. So this is just the movement, right? So we're moving it from our warehouse to our customer's warehouse. So it's almost like a goods receipt in procurement, like we receive our goods, but this one we go ahead and issue our goods to the people that are buying our bikes. Then we send the customer an invoice, and then we get a receipt of a customer payment. So a little bit similar to the procurement, but they have their differences as well. So let's see what is happening when we're doing fulfillment. So we'll do some material planning, right? If we need to procure, or if we already have the stuff that we can use to make those bikes, then we kind of, in procurement and material planning, we kind of just see what's in the warehouse. If the warehouse that we're, like it's Miami warehouse, or we use San Diego's warehouse, how are we going to go ahead and ship those things to production? And once we get the production, material planning in the warehouse, we'll go ahead and build the bikes that we need. We have project systems here to watch all this happening and kind of keep control of that. And then we finally, make sure we do our financial accounting to present an accurate financial picture of the company. And then our management accounting, right, provides detailed financial information to internal management for decision making, planning, and controlling. So a lot going on here for the distribution of the bikes that we're trying to sell. So the first thing we want to do is do pre-sales activity. So this is like the salesperson, right, that kind of does the cold calls or has relationships with our customers. So the ultimate goal of pre-sale activity is to equip the sales technician with all the information necessary to negotiate and complete the potential sale. So information needed in your customer relationship management is, do we have past sales with this person? How much do they usually buy? And when do they usually buy, right? Is it usually in the summer or the winter, Christmas time? So we just kind of find out like what their patterns are, our past communication between them. Were they on hold for something, or they weren't sure they liked a particular bike that we sold them? What was the past communication? They loved it, they want to order again with us, and what's the contact information, and so forth. So we want a 360 degree view of our customer and how we should sell to them. So let's say I give a call. In this case, we are working with a company called Peachtree Bikes, and let's say the salesperson has sold to Peachtree Bikes before and gives them a call and says, hey, we're looking for another order if you guys want to put in another order for your bikes. And the guy said, yeah, can you just send me an inquiry just in case, like maybe the wholesale prices have gone up or gone down. So he just kind of wants like a loose inquiry of like, if you were to buy 7 bikes, what would that cost him? So an inquiry is a customer's request to a company for information with respect to the products without obligation. How much will it cost? What's the availability? Kind of like when am I going to, if I order them, when am I going to get them? And so forth. So, and then the second step would be to do a quotation. So let's say we send them an inquiry and they're like, price looks great. We're only going to order 7 this time around, and we're ready to just give us an actual quote. So here's the legal binding quote. It's kind of the same thing, but have different details like when is it going to be shipped, other things like do we need procurement on it. So it's just a little bit more of a detailed form so that we know that we can go ahead and start the process of building these bikes or getting them in order to ship. So finally we have the sales order. So these two things, like an inquiry and a quote, like if you create your inquiry, you can create your quote based on the inquiry. It's called a create by reference. And then once we create the quote, we can create the sales order based on the quote. So we're not like always inputting the same information over and over again. It's just now it's a sales order. It's official. We've already made it legal binding. So the company now knows that we're ready to go, and we're going to go and put the money in on our side so that we can sell it later. So in the sales order, we have all these things happening, right? So we have our customer, who's our customer master information, our material master information, which it would be huge, right? When we create our bike, we have tons of material there. Obviously, we do the organizational data of Global Bike, pricing conditions. I know in this case that we are going to give them a discount on the whole order and then a particular discount on one type of bike. What's the contact information, delivery dates, and then customer material info conditions, like giving them a discount, shipping data, and billing data. So that's the go time, right? When we get that sales order, then we're like, all right, we're ready to go. So in that sales order document, we have our header, data relevant to the entire sales order, and then we have our line items. They want a deluxe training bike and a professional training bike, and then the scheduled lines have a uniquely belongs to the line item, contains delivery quantities and dates for partial deliveries. We did that in procurement. We don't have a split order this time, but it does tell us what our item overview is. Pricing. So we don't do a lot of pricing because it's set for us in our case, but it is interesting to kind of learn about it. Pricing is to price a product for fulfillment. We'll need to calculate the total cost of producing the bike, storing the bike, and shipping the bike. And then obviously the materials and the labor and the warehouse fees, packaging, and shipping costs. So there's a lot going on how we price our bikes so that we could cover this and actually make a profit, right? So add a markup to cover your desired profit margin, and it has to be competitive in the market while still covering our expenses. So that's kind of a tricky balance there. A little more about pricing is the system displays pricing information for all sales documents. You'll see the total pricing on the header and then the line item pricing on the specific material. So credit check for our new or existing customers. Are they going to buy the 7 bikes? Can they purchase it? Do they have bad credit? So it allows your company to manage its credit exposure and risk for each customer by specifying credit limits. During the sale order process, the system will alert the sales rep about the customer's credit situation and can block deliveries. That's kind of a scary thing, right? That you have to do this so that your company still stays healthy. All right, so then we have, once we create, once we've kind of got the pricing, then we kind of figure out like our delivery document, right? So we already did the production, we already have the bikes, and so we just check like availability check, what's our delivery schedule, transfer of requirements, delivery creation. We need to pick it, and then we load it and pack it, and then we go ahead and send that goods issue. Just like in procurement, like goods receipt is kind of the point of no return, goods issue is another point of no return. So make sure you do these things correctly so that you don't have to redo the case. So availability check determines whether the required materials are available, and if they're not, they'll go to procurement. We also, the availability check must also take into account the amount of time needed to perform relevant activities, such as material staging, transportation, and so forth. So our transportation planning is the process whereby firms determine how the best and cost effective is to transport the bikes. So they consider weight, they consider volume, and transportation mode. Is it cheaper to do it on rail or truck or plane? So all those things need to be considered. So when we do the delivery creation, all these things are done, generates packing proposals, checks scheduling, updates route assignments, and so forth. So in delivery scheduling, when an order is created, you must enter a requested delivery date for the order for each item. So we kind of know what timeline we're having. And I don't know why, but I like the way they do this. I think it's interesting how companies are like, okay, well, which way are we going to do it? The system will determine this date using the forward and backward scheduling rules you have defined. So if I ordered something, if I was Peachtree, and I'm like, I have to have it by the 7th. So as a salesperson at Global Bike, then they're like, okay, then we need to do a timeline where I need to pick and pack here on the 1st so that I can get it done and delivered by the 7th. So that's kind of like the forward scheduling of something that needs to get done. Oh, we got an order, they say we have to be there on the 7th. And then this is the backward scheduling. So it's like, it has to be there on the 6th. So what do I need to do in order to get it here on the 6th, right? So I have to then think about, all right, it's definitely on the 1st that I need to pack. So these are the two kind of things that they work together, and we're like, okay, what do we need to do to get this product out on time? So another thing, once you figure out that, then you start to pick the product. So if you don't need to have the product out till, like, let's say April, or 2 months, 3 months out of the way, then you're not going to pick until you're ready to pick, because then you've already have other orders happening at the same time, right? So picking is quantities based on the delivery note, assigned date when picking should begin, and automated storage location assignments. In this case, and I'll tell you guys a couple of times, you guys, in the case, we do all this great stuff and we figure out like what to do on all the steps, and then when the steps come to picking, you forget to pick, which is interesting. So we have like 7 bikes that we're sending or shipping to, or using in fulfillment and shipping to Peachtree. But when you guys go to ship, there's nothing to ship because you forgot to pick. So it's definitely one of the steps in the case that I want you to just be aware. Like once you get to picking, you're like, okay, did I pick? So make sure that happens, because that's a common problem. All right, loading and packing identifies which packaging is to be used for specified products, and then ensures weight volume restrictions are enforced. All packed items are assigned to the required means of transportation. So if you do decide that you are going to put it in a crate, or you were going to put it on a pallet, whatever it would need to be, like everything is just down to the wire. Like every cost is accounted for, and so that we can make a profit from those bikes. Okay, so here's your goods issue. This is like the do or die step. Legal change in ownership of the products. It's recognition that the goods have left the premises and will reduce our inventory and entered as cost of goods sold. So this is kind of helps us in accounting. And then automatically updates the general ledger, ends the shipping process, and updates the status of the shipping documents. This way we can start charging them right after we've done a goods issue. So here's the billing. We use customer master, obviously the sales order for sure. and then we just do the document delivery of material quantity and dates, and that would be our billing document, which AKA means customer invoice. And then we have payment. Payment is the final step in the sales order process. It includes posting payments and reconciling differences between payment. But most of you guys will just do this, posting payments against invoices. We're not reconciling between payment and invoice. That's not an issue in our case. So finally, you know, the great thing about fulfillment is you can go to document flow, and it's in your case, and you can see like what the number, your document number is of your inquiry, and then what your document number is for your quotation, and then are they all complete, and then the accounting is cleared. So this is a really easy one to grade and easy one to troubleshoot, because you can go into document flow and see what you're doing wrong or see what you're doing right. And remember, I told you some of you guys forget to do that picking. So when you're here and you're like, why is it not clearing? You can go to this document flow and be like, oh, I'm missing this or not, or something. So I think it's a lot easier case than procurement, and it makes sense. I wish procurement would have something like this. All right, so that is the quick lecture on fulfillment. And I will go ahead and do another video on the first couple of steps of your case. Thank you.